Today we do a quick overview of the 5 basic steps of installing our Stronghold iron fence. Hey everyone, Jason from Iron Fence Shop. We've done a couple of videos now on how our wrought iron fence goes together, but we've never really done a video from start to finish on how it all goes in. So today I wanted to go over the 5 basic steps on what it takes to put your iron fence in from start to finish. Now before we get started, keep in mind this will kind of just be the 30,000 foot view of things. If you're looking for detailed descriptions on how to put the fence in, be sure to check out our print installation guide or our knowledge center on ironfenceshop.com. Check out our YouTube channel for our other videos we've done, or if you've just got some basic questions, feel free to give us a call on the phone. We're happy to help out that way too. Step 1 is to call 811 to have your utilities marked. For those of you here in the US, 811 is a nationwide number you can call to have them come out and mark your utilities for no cost. Basically what they'll do is come out and mark any public utilities like water, gas, all those things you really don't want to find when you're digging your post holes. Once they come out, they'll mark it with some flags and spray paint, and that way you can make sure you're not digging your post holes where those utilities are. Step number 2 is to gather the tools you need and buy your post hole concrete and gravel. Now's the time to find out if you got all the tools you need to get the fence installed. Now it's pretty basic and you probably have most of them, but better to find out now than after you have to make 15 trips to the store when you find out, oops, I don't have that, oops, I don't have that, gotta go back again. So once you figure out what tools you need or need to buy, you're gonna head to the store, get your post hole concrete, get your gravel, and this is gonna be the time to make sure you got everything you need to get started. Now if you're not sure of what tools you need, be sure to check out our print installation guide on ironfenceshop.com. As for your post hole concrete, if you aren't sure how many bags or what sizes you need, both Quikcrete and Sakrete have great online calculators. Now to use those, you'll need to know what size posts you have, which you can find in your order confirmation we emailed you, and you'll need to know if you're digging a 2-foot deep hole or a 3-foot deep hole, which we probably discussed during the quote process. Now if you're using our flange post or you're doing a surface mount, now is also going to be the time to buy your anchor bolts. Step 3 is to mark your layout and begin digging your post holes. Now before you begin digging, the one thing you want to do is mark your layout. This is going to ensure that you're going exactly where you need the fence line and you're not veering off as you go. Basically, you're just going to stake the layout with some rebar and some high visibility string and some spray paint to mark your post holes. That way you're digging exactly where you need them. Now if you want to see a more step-by-step version of that, we did an entire video on just marking your layout and digging the post holes on the channel here if you want to take a look for that. Okay, you've got your layout marked and you're ready to move on to digging. Now if you're using our flange surface mount posts, this is going to be the point where you start drilling your concrete pad or wall and start putting those down with your anchors. If you're digging your post holes, like the majority of our installations do, this is going to be where you start digging the holes, mixing the concrete, and setting your posts in the ground. Now you're going to have to let that concrete set up before you move on to step 4, and how long that takes is going to depend on your concrete mix as well as the temperatures outside. Be sure to check the bag and see what they recommend. A quick install tip before we jump on to step number 4. Be sure to pay special attention to your cut fence panels. Full 8-foot sections and gates are easy, they're pretty much a fixed width, but when you get into cut fence panels you need to pay a little closer attention as you might need to move your post hole a little bit. Let's say you need 6 foot 8 inches to get to the end of your run. Now that might work mathematically, but that might not work in reality. And what I mean by that is let's say you need that to get to the end of your run measurement. However, when you put the tape measure on your fence panel, 6 foot 8 inches lands in the middle of a picket, or it only leaves you a small stub of rail sticking off the side of your panel. Now's the time to put that tape measure on the panel and make sure what works mathematically works in reality too. Now's the time to adjust your post hole a few inches in or out to make sure the cut works, rather than finding that out later and having to dig a bigger post hole to move your post. Step number 4 is to hang your panels and gates once your concrete is set. Now here's where the real fun begins because you can really start seeing the project take shape. Now when you get started, I recommend starting with your fence panels. You're probably going to find that the first 2 or 3 of them take a lot longer than you thought they were going to, but once you get through those, you're going to kind of get the rhythm of it and you're going to see them start going a lot faster. When I install, I typically like to do my panels first and my gates last, but you can also do your gates first and your panels last. I just find the panels are an easier one to kind of cut your teeth on to really see how the whole process is going to go. Our 5th and final step is clean up and touch up. This is where you're in the home stretch, things are almost done. Now that you got everything installed, your fence panels are up, your gates are in, your gate hardware's on, let's get things cleaned up and get the yard put back to normal. So let's go ahead and clean up your post hole dirt, everything that was left over from digging those. Let's get the tools put away. And as a final step, let's go through and do any touch-ups on any nicks, scrapes, or scuffs on the fence and gates that happened during installation. Now when it comes to any kind of paint touch-ups, I'm a big believer in the less is more approach. Don't take that spray can and just hose the entire fence line down every place you've got a little mark. What I recommend is taking the can and spraying a little in a cap or container, and then just using a small art brush or Q-tip to just dab on your touch-up. Chances are those are small spots anyway. That's going to give you a much cleaner and controlled look. Now that step 5 is done, all that's left to do is sit back and admire your fence and gates. So there's the 5 basic steps of installing our Stronghold iron fence. be sure to check us out here at ironfenceshop.com. Want to check out that video I mentioned on marking your layout and digging your post holes? Here's a link to that video. If you got any further questions, feel free to shoot us an email at sales@ironfenceshop.com or give us a call at 800-261-2729. We look forward to hearing from you.